One of the ideas that often happens in psychotherapy in our various schools of thought, and particularly with beginning therapists, is that they often think that therapy is about change in the sense that a person changes from this to that, or that the therapist is an agent of change. You should be able to change this person. In other words, the therapist has that kind of power or expertise. So it's often thought of as kind of a unilateral or one-way change, that only the client changes and the therapist doesn't change. And one of the things that I think is important to keep in mind as a therapist and to be aware of is the influence that the client is having on you, whatever that might be. Whether it's a challenge to your own beliefs and your own values, whether it's something that makes you question something yourself, but that it's not a one-way street. Human relationships are not like that. We're always mutually influencing each other, and that we are as influenced again by our clients as they are by us, and that it is something that we're involved in and do together. Another way that I think about this is I write about and I often talk about taking a walk together or walking alongside each other. So let's say that at the end of the day, some of you decide to take a walk, or a couple of you decide, well, we want to go to this particular shop, or we want to go see this movie, and think about how you decide to do that. And as you start out, how do you go? Are you going to walk? Are you going to bicycle? Are you going to take a taxi? Or something catches your attention, or someone stops and talks to you, and the whole plans change? How do those things happen when you go for a walk with someone? How do you do that together? How do you both mutually influence what it is you're going to do? Not that it's always an equal influence, because one time one might have a stronger idea about where you want to go than the other, but there's this give and take that you're doing it together, rather than sort of pushing or nudging a client from behind because this is the direction or the path that you think they should take, or trying to pull them down this path with you because you know this is the path that's going to lead to the perfect outcome because it's worked in so many other situations, or this is what the manual says. So when you work that way, if you think about it as walking alongside each other, and Tom Anderson used to use a similar kind of metaphor of walking alongside. And this is not only for the therapist and the clients, but if you're more than one therapist working with a particular situation or family or a client, that you have to think about it the same way. That there's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of ambiguity. It's okay if you want to think in terms of goals, to have a goal of where you want to go at the end of therapy. Client-determined goal. But one thing is to keep in mind is that often goals change. And goals in therapy change because problem definitions, so to speak, change. The way one thinks about a problem or what one thinks is the primary